Hello, welcome. My name is Sanghua Lee. I'm the professor of Handong Global University at the School of Global Entrepreneurship and ICT. This is the fourth class of the series of business strategy course. Okay. Today's topic is business strategy building process overview. If you look at the prior classes, let me quickly summarize some of the key topics of the previous classes. Okay, in my first class, I introduced the concept of strategic thinking process. And then in my second class, I presented the overview of the problem-solving 7 steps, and I talked a little bit more about what the problem is and how to write a good business statement. In my third class, I introduced the concept of BC and then logic trees, and then how we will apply those tools and concepts in problem-solving process, specifically in the second step, disaggregating our the problems into the small issues. And I also brought some of the examples of logic trees in order to help you understand the logic trees and then BC concept a little bit more. From now on, we move on to the building the business strategy from overall problem-solving processes. Those are quite tightly linked, but slightly different. And from this class, from this the fourth class of this class, and I would like to emphasize what is business strategy and how we can build the business strategy step by step. Okay. A lot of people think building the business strategy is very complicated work, and it's very difficult to build the business strategy. So they are reluctant even to think about the business strategies. But actually, business strategy is near our circumstances. So in our everyday life, we explicitly or implicitly make some choices and think about the building the business strategies. Okay, so I brought a case of choosing the transportation early in the morning when we go to the schools. Okay, the first thing is, okay, there is a new morning, there is a new day dawning, so it's new day morning. What time is it? It's 8:15 in the morning. Okay, I don't know when you wake up, but I know that getting up at 8:15 in the morning is quite challenging to the students, to the young students. The elders like me can wake up early in the morning, but for the youngsters, 8:15 is a very early time. Okay, but anyway, in 8:15, it's a new day dawning, and then I wake up. And then I realize that I have to go to the school in downtown by 8:50. So I may have only slightly more than 30 minutes. And then I'm late, right? It's not Sunday or Saturday. It's Monday, and I have to go to school. And then it's late. So it's the natural pattern of our thinking, right? So when we wake up, we look at what time it is, and then if I have to do something by a certain time, and I will realize whether it's late or not. If I have to go to school in downtown by 10 in the morning, and I may have enough time, so I'm not late, right? Just because I have to go to school in downtown by 8:50, considering the current what time it is, and then I make a very natural judgment that I'm late. And then the next step, what we think is that what is the best transportation option to go to school in downtown by 8:50. Okay? There might be a lot of options. One is taking a bus. Another option I may think is that by subway, or taking a taxi, or I may drive my own car. There are a lot of different options. If you are an intuitive thinker, you don't have to think about transportation options. If you took a subway for the past 5 years, and then if today is one of the normal days as before, and your intuition may ask you to take the subway as usual. Or if you have driven your own car for the past a couple of years, and today, if today is the same day of yesterday, and then you don't have to think about what kind of option you will choose. Simply, you can drive your own car as usual. Or you may take the bus. You have taken the bus for the past 2 years, and there's no problem at all. And if today is the same day, and then you will take the bus. So our past experience and prior knowledge will tell you what to do instantly. But the situation of today might be different from the past days. Why do we think about building the strategy? Because the basic assumption is that today is different from the yesterday, and then the ways we do the business as before may not be the best way of doing the business of today or tomorrow. And then the need to build a business strategy is higher and more important, just because the external environment around my business is more uncertain and risk has increased. So there are a lot of more uncertainties. That's why we have to think differently how to efficiently and effectively tackle a lot of obstacles of today and to achieve a certain goal in the future. So in our case, we wake up at 8:15, and because we have to go to school in downtown in 35 minutes, and then in my brain there are a lot of thoughts. What's the best option, transportation option? Okay? That's why we try to think about a lot of different options. And then I choose the subway option. You may choose different options, but whether or not one option is not the answer. My point is that when choosing the option, there might be some strategic thinking, thought process going on implicitly in your mind. Okay, so what's the thought process in choosing the option 2 by subway? If we reverse engineer our thinking process to reach the conclusion of taking the subway, option 2, it might be an interesting. So let's have a look at some of the possible reasons we may have considered in choosing the option number 2. There are a lot of reasons that we have considered to choose the option of taking a subway on a rainy day. For example, it rains in the morning. Okay, it could be a rainy day or not, but there, for example, so it's a rainy day in the morning. And then a new subway station has opened recently, for example, last month, near my house. And then traffic jam is expected on the highway due to the heavy rain in the morning rush hour. And some of the things we may have considered is that subway is not expected to be crowded. Why? Because the line is quite new. The subway station is newly opened near my house, and then this line is new line, so the subway is not expected to be crowded. Okay. And then some other things I have considered. My professor in the first class of today does not like the late coming students. If my professor is so generous to the late coming students, I don't have to think about a lot of different options, but take the previous options as usual. But today is a different situation. And also, our school is very strict in checking attendance of the students, maybe from this month. So that means I have to be on time, considering those reasons. And let's have a look at other reasons. I cannot afford to take a taxi with little pocket money nowadays. I have plenty of pocket money early in this month, but I spent most of my pocket money. Now it's almost at the end of the month, and I don't have enough money with me in my pocket, so I cannot afford to take a taxi with little pocket money. And I do not have a driver's license yet. So there are a couple of reasons when you choose your best options. Those reasons are quite different to each person. And building the business strategy is dependent on everybody's situations. So that's why we feel building the strategy is very difficult, because every single business strategy is customized. So even though one strategy is very powerful to a certain company, that powerful strategy may not be very powerful to other company. Why? Because every company has a different situations. So it's not quite easy to copy and paste the strategy itself to any cases. That's why we think the building business strategy is difficult. That's also why we need strategic thinking in building business strategy, because there is no one single answer always right at all times. Once the external factors changes, the answer of the business strategy could be different. So at this point, I want to emphasize that in building the business strategy, you may have considered a lot of different reasons. Even though you wake up yourself at 8:15 and you don't have enough time to think about what you are supposed to do, what is the best option. But it's natural for anybody to think about what is the best option based on the various reasons very quickly. So it doesn't take a long time to build a good business strategy. If you once master the process, even though it takes a couple of steps, it doesn't necessarily mean that it takes long time to take every step in building the business strategy. Okay? So to choose the option of taking a bus on a rainy day, you may have considered lots of reasons. So in this slide, I presented 8 important reasons.